Knowledge is power. Make an impact by learning more. Call us right now for more help at 866-945-8070. I'm going to start the recording. I'm going to go live on Facebook, and we are about to get this party started. So everybody comb your hair, check your teeth, check mine. I'm actually eating smoked salmon here.
I just dim the lights.
All right. Now I got to make sure I get this right with the Facebook part. Share on a page. Nerd Enterprises, Inc. I'm going to start doing like surprise broadcast because I have a lot of pages that people have added me as an admin. I'm just going to start doing it. Like, surprise, we're broadcasting on your page today. I bet you a lot of them probably wouldn't even mind.
Every once in a while, we should do a 97 and up on there, and
we could do like the Zoom webinar version of a flash mob, right? Where we just show up on someone's page, and we can all like do a little dance on camera and then turn it off. All right, hold on, we're getting there. Facebook is a little slow to produce this stuff. Wait, here it comes. Okay, it wants a title. Hold on. Title, lienwaivers.io. Video games. Do we have any video games, Michael, associated with the app? Just kidding. That's what Facebook asks.
We could add it if that's what you need.
Okay, yeah, we need a lien waivers video game. So we'll work on it. We'll talk about that in a minute. All right, I'm going to go live. Hold on, it's redirecting. This is quite the process. I really need to start it like 5 minutes before the actual 8 o'clock time, just to make sure. Okay, and now, so remember last week we had some technical difficulties with this. So it's the weirdest thing. So once you go live, it just redirects me to facebook.com. So now I have to go into my notifications and wait for it, or go back to my page. It's very strange. So you need to work on that. Definitely a work in process. Hold on, bear with me. We're almost there. All right, found it on the page. And let me make sure I mute the page's video feed and go live in the Facebook group. God, I work hard. And posting. And good morning. Happy Friday. It's May 11th, 2018. Flex your muscles. Let's get ready. We're gonna do some learning. We're gonna have some fun. A couple of housekeeping things. So for those of you who haven't been following me too closely on Facebook, next Tuesday I'm starting a series with Mike Milan called The Cash Flow Show. That's gonna be every Tuesday at 4 p.m. It's going to be short. We're not going to hold you hostage. It's going to be like 20 to 30 minutes on Facebook Live. So if you want more information about that, go head over to just search cashflowtool.com on Facebook and make sure you've liked their page, because that's where we're going to be doing this. And of course, if you can't find it or have trouble or anything like that, just reach out to me. You know how to find me, and I'll send you a link straight there. We'll make sure that you're able to catch it. What else is happening before we get to the main event? Absolutely nothing. That's it. Cashflowshow.com, Tuesdays at 4 o'clock. That's all you need to know. I want to get right into things today because we have, as always, a very special guest. Michael, I don't even remember how we were introduced originally. But I remember getting an email from you and you telling me about the AMP. And I used to work with construction companies many years ago when I worked with Desktop. I don't anymore, but of course I work with a lot of people who do, and probably one of the most significant people that stands out in my mind as far as somebody that I work with who works with construction companies is right here with us, Sarah Prevost. Sarah works a lot with a lot of construction companies. She's like our resident expert on Notify, which is an app that does a lot of the construction management stuff in the bigger picture. So when you came to me, Michael, with the idea of lienwaivers.io, I thought this is going to be awesome for people, because it's one of those things that if you know construction, you know what kind of headaches can come with the whole lien process and lien waivers. And so when you started telling me about lien waivers, I actually got really excited, because it's a very specific thing that you do, but knowing that I have an app that handles that and handles it really well is exciting to me. So I'm excited and interested in seeing what you have to share with us today, and welcome and thank you for being on the show.
Well, appreciate you having me. Thank you. I'm excited to be here and kind of show you some of the things that we've been working on over the last few years. I guess I could start in a little bit and tell you a little bit about how we got started.
Yeah.
Luis, one of our co-founders, he was a controller at a large regional construction company operating out of Iowa, South Dakota, and Nebraska, and was managing upwards of 1,000 lien waivers per month in exchange for payments. So very time-consuming process. And then, as you guys know, the statutory lien laws in every single state, it's different. And so he's like, there's got to be a better way. And he teamed up with Jeff Arnold, who is now our CEO, who is a technologist. And we originally wrote a piece of software for QuickBooks Desktop to create lien waivers based on the checks that you're cutting within QuickBooks. And then over time, we've rolled that out to a direct integration with QuickBooks Online, Xero, and now we've launched a version 2 with Procore, large construction management software platform.
That's awesome. So, like I said, I've worked with construction companies, but not on that scale. And now that you mention it, it makes sense that when you have a company that's dealing with, thousands and thousands of liens, I can imagine how cumbersome that can be. So that was it. He ran into a pain point, and he said, I need to solve this problem. I need to make this process more streamlined, more efficient, more just manageable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's how it all got started, and it's basically, we built the software based on feedback. I'm interacting with probably 1,000 different construction accountants each month, one-on-one on calls and demos. So I'm getting lots of feedback that I can take back to the team and add new features. And so we really build the software based on different workflows across the country.
So for those who may not be as experienced with what liens are and how this part of the construction process works, can you explain to us a little bit about that? Like, what is a lien? Why do we care about liens?
Sure. I'll keep it really kind of high level. I won't really dive too deep into it, but I'll just I explain it like this. If you are a general contractor or a luxury home builder and you have subcontractors like a roofer or a concrete person that you need to pay, basically you send them a lien waiver, which is a receipt for payment. And so you can prove that they've been paid and they can't come back on the owner down the road and file a lien against that property moving forward. So it's essentially a receipt for payment. I mean, that's an easy way to explain it. Either you can really dive deep into it, but that's the simple way.
Right. But so during the construction process, we can put a lien on somebody's home to make sure that we do get paid. Right. And so it's kind of like leverage or recourse, if you will. Right.
Yeah, waiving their lien rights. So what we do is we really work. There's two ways it can work. There's a lot of there's companies out there that work with the subcontractors to make sure that they're protected. We really work with general contractors and the home builders to make sure that they're protected. And we send these documents out with payment, and it's the subcontractors are basically waiving their lien rights, saying the job's complete. Both parties are satisfied. Let's move on.
Gotcha. Okay. So that gives people confirmation. They don't have to worry about 10 years from now they go to sell their home and somebody forgot to finish the paperwork on this, or whatever it is, or they can't put a lien on the house anymore and claim that something was not paid for or whatever.
Exactly.
Okay. So why is the process difficult to manage? Like, in other words, why do we need software to manage this?
Yeah, so it's one of the most important documents in the construction space, and it's also one piece that has been overlooked for so many years. So there's all these great accounting software platforms. There's these great project management software platforms, but none of them have really thought about the lien waiver process. Has been kind of an afterthought. But if you're a construction accountant and you're managing this process, every check you write basically requires a lien waiver. So if you have multiple projects going across multiple states and all those, imagine all those checks that are going out, and then keeping track of all that paperwork to make sure that you're protected. And a lot of times we're seeing the lenders or the financial institutions are requiring all this documentation. So you have to communicate not only with the subcontractors, but with the lenders. And there's dedicated people within construction companies that's their full-time job, is just managing lien waivers.
Right.
I have a question. Now, what's the process? Does the subcontractor automatically put a lien on the property and then they have to make sure it gets recorded, the lien waiver, or is it something that they're basically saying we're not going to put a lien on your property by signing a lien waiver?
Yeah, like they'll file a notice to owner, and then essentially they will notify that there could be a lien until they get paid and that both parties are satisfied. And so this document really releases all the rights that subcontractor would have against that property.
But the subcontractor hasn't already placed a lien on the property yet?
No.
Okay.
No. This is
It's just the right to lien. You have to notify everybody at the time of project beginning the right to lien. It's
right. Yeah, you put the parties on notice that you have the right to put a lien on their property if they're out of compliance. And so then at the end of the project, what we're talking about here with the lien waiver is it also then becomes inherent as part of the process that once the project is complete and all parties are satisfied, then they have to sign a lien waiver saying, we promise we are not going to put a lien. We acknowledge that we no longer can put a lien now that we've signed this.
Okay.
Exactly. Thank you, Sarah.
Sure. So, all right, Michael, I think if nobody else has any questions, then it might be appropriate to just dive right into a demo. I think we'd all love to see the product.
Cool. I'll jump into it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I've not done the screen share on Zoom, so let me know if you can't see anything here.
Yeah, so just move your mouse over the screen and you'll see the button at the bottom. It's a green button that says
share my screen. Perfect.
Perfect.
Awesome. So you guys can see this, everything okay?
Yep. Mike's Builders.
I'm going to go ahead. There you go. There you go. I'm going to go ahead and hide this on the right-hand side. Perfect. Okay, so this is our lien waiver technology, and you guys can stop me as I move through this with any questions that you might have. And so basically we're a cloud-based software, and we connect directly to different accounting platforms such as Sage, QuickBooks, Desktop Online, and Procore. And the software looks pretty plain right now, and that's because we have no information in the software. And
so I'm sorry, Mike, let me stop you real quick because this question comes up right at this stage. Does lien waivers work in Canada? I always have my Canadian friends that want to know.
Well, we're seeing there isn't really a lien. It's not required by law. We're not seeing lien waivers in Canada. We don't currently have any Canadian customers, but we're seeing like on the West Coast, there could be construction companies that are working in the States that are based out of Canada, so they would use our software. But if they're doing projects within Canada, we don't see that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Cool. So what's great about this is that you don't have to set anything up in our software. So it really eliminates that double entry. You're not entering information in QuickBooks and then going ahead and entering information in our software. So it looks really plain right now. So I'll just show you how we connect. I'll do a QuickBooks Online example, but we just launched a QuickBooks Desktop connector, which is really exciting. That's something that we're working on in-house here. And so we have customers that are using that. So it doesn't matter if you're using QuickBooks Desktop or online.
Right. So and just while you mentioned that, for people, for the kids watching at home, a lot of construction companies still don't feel they're able to get into QuickBooks Online because of the complicated progress billing process and a number of other things that make it difficult to run their construction businesses with QBO. We've seen an app called Notify, which makes all that possible, and in probably just about every respect even better than Desktop. except for, as Sarah Laidlaw is going to point out, the payroll part and job costing. We still have a challenge there with construction companies. So anyway.
Exactly, that's spot on, and that's what we're seeing across the industry. QuickBooks Online is great because it does have a direct API. So if we're working with a project management system such as Procore, we can get those systems to talk really nicely. And so we really feel like QuickBooks Online paired with a nice project management system works great. Cool. So in our software, you'll just get a link. You'll hit the enable button, and at that point, it'll ask you to log in your QBO account, and that's it. You're now connected and ready to create some lien waivers. You guys are still seeing everything okay?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So at this point, we're going to import information into the software. And so one thing our software does, it gives you the ability to store unlimited lien waiver templates in there. And that's real important. So if you're in the retail construction space and you're working with somebody like McDonald's or a big box store, a lot of times they'll require a certain template approved by their legal counsel. So you can load that up word for word as is and put it into our software. And additionally, it comes preloaded with all the statutory lien waivers. And those of you that are not familiar with the statutory lien laws, it's basically a certain lien waiver that's legal in a state that some states have written laws around specific lien waivers templates that they want you to use. And so, but you can also add your own template in the software as well. So at this point, imagine that you're getting ready to cut checks and you need to pay those subcontractors, vendors, and suppliers out of our software. And so you'll cut the checks within QuickBooks, and we can piggyback off of that information. So it doesn't matter if you're doing a check run every 2 weeks or monthly, however you're doing that. I'm just going to select a large date range here to make sure I get all the information in the software. But if you're cutting checks for the first 2 weeks of May on the 15th, you just set the 1st through the 15th. And you hit select. And so now what our software does is looking at the checks that are going out, and it's going to generate the appropriate lien waiver. So this is pretty cool. And the time savings here is a lot of the QuickBooks users, QuickBooks obviously doesn't have a lien waiver function. So if you're in the construction space, the process before was you had some kind of mail merge with an Excel sheet, and then there was no way to track them, and it just is very time-consuming process. And so now what we're able to do is just piggyback off of all those checks or payments that are going out, and we're creating the appropriate lien waivers.
Now, Michael, and forgive me if I'm getting ahead of you, if I remember correctly, every time I send an invoice to my client, I need to attach something that reminds them about the possibility of a lien for non-compliance. Is that right? And if I am right, I assume this will facilitate the process of making it easy to make sure that that notice is attached to every invoice that goes out, or how does that part work? And if I'm getting ahead, just say I'm getting ahead.
Sure. We don't really focus on the invoicing portion of it. We're kind of after the fact, so the invoices come up. But that's a great question. We're seeing it different in every single state, and everybody's process is differently. This is a basic workflow that we feel very comfortable with, that many of our contractors are using, and that's one thing I like about the software. It's really kind of allowing people to have an actual process for lien waivers, where we're seeing it was different depending on who was managing that process within an organization.
Gotcha. Yeah, I keep forgetting that you're really dealing with the process after the fact.
Yeah, we're after the fact, so we're going to go out there when you're getting ready to cut those checks. We're going to collect those lien waivers, and additionally, we can facilitate a payment in exchange for a lien waiver.
Got it.
Cool. So this was a big breakthrough for us as far as customer feedback, is just being able to auto-populate all your waivers at once. So if you had 200 checks going out, we're able to create all those specific lien waivers all just by setting a date range. It'll pull appropriate lien waivers. So if you're working if you're an Iowa-based company and you're working in Texas, it'll pull that Texas statutory lien waiver. But you can always override it in our software. So we can always add a different lien waiver. If McDonald's or a company like that is requiring a specific template, we just can select that in our software and override it. So what we're going to do is we're going to create all these lien waivers because we have a bunch of checks that are going out, and we need to collect a lien waiver in exchange for the payment. So at this point, everything looks good. We're going to go ahead and create. And so now we're actually going to create the waiver. And so this is pretty cool. It auto-populated all the information into your waivers. So we're able to talk to QuickBooks and fill out all the fields that are needed. So when that waiver goes out to be signed, the only thing the subcontractor or vendor has to do is actually sign this particular waiver. And so project address, dollar amounts, through dates, company name, invoice number. We always say if it's in QuickBooks, we can pull it out of QuickBooks. So we really customize how the software works depending on what information you need.
Brilliant.
So we've created these. Now we're getting ready to send these out. Those of you that are in the construction space, you know that subcontractors like to receive information differently. Some people are coming into the office to pick up checks, picking these waivers up. Some people are receiving these because they want the wet ink signature on there. And then a lot of them now are moving to digital signature, which is our most popular option. So we have 3 delivery methods. You could print these waivers off. You can send these as an email attachment. We can pull email addresses from QuickBooks. So, but you can also upload email addresses and associate those to a subcontractor, vendor. And then our third option here is electronic signature. So this is our most popular option. This is really exciting stuff. This is where our payment portion comes in too. So if you do want to process a payment in exchange for a lien waiver, you can send that out electronically, where we'll actually send the lien waiver out, get it digitally signed, have that come back into our system. And once our system gets notified that that waiver is there in the system, it will facilitate the payment. But that's an option. You do not have to use that. And we added a feature recently around notarization. Some of these are required by law to be notarized. And so we partnered with a third party called notarize.com out of Virginia, where we can actually connect subcontractors and vendors live to a 24/7 notary that they can put the acknowledgement right on that waiver from their phone if they're out in the field, which is really handy because we were seeing some companies, it was holding up their draw by not getting these lien waivers back in time. So the electronic notarization feature is really cool stuff.
Now, I have a question about that. Dumb question. Don't you have to be present with the notary to make that happen? Like, how do they get around that?
Well, that's a great question. So that is now, it's legal in every state but Iowa, the state we're in. And so it actually, it's pretty unique. The notary will actually pop up on their screen. It'll ask them to take a picture of their ID, walk them through a series of questions, and they can put that digital acknowledgement right there on that waiver. And at that point, when everything's complete, it flows back into our system seamlessly.
Brilliant. That's interesting. I have to check that out now.
Yeah, check out notarize.com. We know those guys really well, and we have several customers that are using the electronic notarization feature.
It's like the
cool.
Uber.
So I'm going to go ahead. What's that?
It's like the Uber of notaries.
There you go. Yeah, it's really kind of game changing because it's if you are working in the remote field, we have a customer that's working on a project in Texas, and they're really out in a remote area, and they don't have access to the notary within their office, and so they can just sign these waivers right from the field. Yeah.
No, it makes perfect sense.
Cool. Well, I'm going to flip over. I went ahead and sent one of these waivers out for electronic delivery. I wanted to show you what it looks like from a subcontractor or vendor's experience signing a waiver on our platform and how easy it is. So we were able to pull all these projects that were set up within QuickBooks. And so now this is your dashboard, your workspace. I call it kind of the control center. So it'll have all your ongoing projects here. You'll be able to see how many waivers are outstanding with that project. And then additionally, you can open this up and you can see when the waiver was created from QuickBooks. You can see the status. So right now, that one has not been delivered. If I scroll down, I think it was on this one. If I scroll down here, that means the waiver is waiting electronic signature. And when those come back, it will be a blue check mark, and it'll actually, that signed waiver will be in our system. Any questions on any of that, guys, before I'd hate to just keep rolling along here?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What happens to the ones that aren't e-signed? do they get faxed back and then scanned in, or do they get scanned in somehow to the system? I mean, do you guys store the actual signed copies of the lien waivers in your system?
Yeah, great question there. So we do have contractors that actually have a notary in-house. And so at that point, what our general contractors are doing that are using our software, they're sending these out via email attachment directly through our software. And at that point, the subcontractor will print that off, put their wet signature on it, and then sometimes they'll mail them back, and then other times they'll just email them back. And so you want to track these, and you want to get these back in our system. We've actually developed what we call an email tracking feature. And so each one of our lienwaivers.io accounts comes with a unique email address, and you can just forward those attachments right from your email account to our unique email address, and our system will put those under the particular project and subcontractor and mark them signed. So you're not downloading that attachment and uploading it to our software. All you're doing is hitting the forward button on those attachments that are coming in, and they're sending them right to our system.
How about if someone actually physically mails it in? I mean, does someone in the office that gets it have to either scan it in or take a snapshot of it as a PDF and upload it, or what? How does that get into the system if it's originally a manually returned lien waiver?
Sure. There's a couple ways. We have a lady in New Mexico that's getting back probably about 50 paper waivers every couple weeks. Her scanner can actually email out. So we have her just take a stack of lien waivers, put them in her scanner, and email them right to our software.
Mm.
You can always manually upload them here by hitting this button, and you can just drag and drop. So if you have a one-off waiver that you want to upload, you can just upload it. But otherwise, that email tracking feature is great if you have multiple waivers coming back in paper form.
Would you have like an Excel file type listing of all the different, or like a database, so you can just drill down and see what it looks like, a picture of this signed waiver?
Yeah, so that's I'll go ahead and sign one of these digitally, but you can always click into it here, and the actual waiver will pop up. We've also added a nice little dynamic search feature that you can always pull these waivers up at any time, sort by date or by project, and you can actually physically see that scanned copy that you sent right to our dashboard from your scanner, or being able to forward those on from your email. And they all live within our system, and you can pull those out at any time.
So these are all partial unconditional, but do you ever do the conditional?
Yeah, we do conditional waivers as well. There's a couple different ways to handle that. We can pull that information. If it's within QuickBooks, we can get that conditional waiver out. We also have a one-off waiver feature within our software where you can actually just have that conditional waiver in there, and then just type in the appropriate fields that you need filled out and send that out. So we're seeing a lot of times with the conditional waivers, our customers are just generating that one-off conditional waiver within the software.
Can you do like say for example on your system, let's say American Roofing, and you want to see all these potential lien waivers, and then see which ones have been signed and which ones haven't? Can you get that kind of result?
Yeah, so this is our. I think I know what you're asking, but I'll go ahead and just kind of show you. If I don't answer that correctly, let me know. But this is a project view. We also have a subcontractor view. Here, I'll flip over to that. And so this is all the subcontractors or vendors that you're working with, and then it'll have all the waivers that are associated with that particular vendor that are unsigned. And so right here, that'll actually turn to a blue check mark if that's signed. And then what you can do is archive these off of your dashboard, and then you can always use our search feature to pull those back up. So the search feature will always host your signed lien waivers that are associated with that particular subcontractor or vendor.
Can you export it to Excel?
So what we have a download feature that will actually, you can just download that out in a PDF form. We can do a report if you want some kind of Excel report. where you're able to work with our team and we can set that up for you as well. But that's on a one-on-one. That's not something you would do straight out of the box from our software. So we have customers that are getting reporting functions. Cool. Well, I'll go ahead and just sign a waiver. I want to just show you guys what that looks like. So this is my email account, me acting as if I was the subcontractor vendor, signing a waiver on our system. We can collect a W-9 and have that filled out electronically. So if that's of interest at all, if it's the first time you've interacted with a vendor or subcontractor, you can send a W-9. But I went ahead and sent a waiver here. We're going to open this up. And so what this is great. All the emails will look like they're coming from your AP at or whatever email address you're using, but they'll flow through our system. So we'll get notifications if an email is not delivered, and we have a team internally that are reaching out to subcontractors and vendors and seeing, hey, is there an adjustment that we need to make sure that these are all delivered in the future? These templates can be branded as your own, messaging, logos, all that good stuff. And additionally, they're optimized for your iPad and mobile devices. So at this point, you'll get an email notification. And one key point to this that we're seeing, our software really is different than some of the project management software platforms that have a waiver function built in. We're not asking them to create an account or a password or anything. Basically, if they have access to their email account from their field, they can get in here, hit the green button, and sign that particular waiver. And so now the waiver is going to pop up on my screen here, very similar to the same waiver I showed you guys earlier. I'll go ahead and sign this digitally. A lot of you guys are very familiar with digital signing experiences. So we'll insert my signature. I'll type in my name. So this is me acting as if I was American Roofing. Everything looks good. And so we'll hit continue and I hit agree. And at that point, the subcontractor, the vendor, they're done. So they'll get a notification that their check's in the mail. If it's an ACH payment, now we would facilitate the payment electronically to them at this point. But we're seeing a lot of times that our companies that we're working with are sending these out, getting these signed digitally and then mailing the check. And so you'll get an email notification, they'll get a signed copy, and then a signed copy will come back into our lienwaivers.io dashboard. So I'll flip over to that, and let's do project view. And this is a standard workflow. We have customers that are using the software in different ways. So, we're seeing Illinois, California, sometimes they have a little different process. And that's something I can touch on too if anybody wants to follow up later. Okay, we'll go ahead and open this up. And there we have it. It looks like, I think this is the signed waiver that I sent out. We'll open it and see what we have here. I clicked the wrong one. That was the one I manually uploaded. Cool. So there we have it. That signed lien waiver that I just signed is now back in our dashboard. It can be recorded. There's different reminder features as well. So if you want to download this waiver now that it's signed and send that back up to the owner or lender, whoever would need that, you can. Otherwise, you can archive it off the dashboard. If there's a situation where you send a waiver out and it's not returned and it's holding up a specific draw or something like that, you can set up auto reminders. So after 7 or 10 days, it'll automatically send a reminder and resend a waiver. So that's really handy. You can also set it up to where it's a manual process. So you'll get a notification if a waiver is aging in our software, and then you can go in and just manually send a reminder. Awesome. So any questions on any of that? I know that's kind of a lot to take in. It was very quick and high level, but I'd, love to get your guys' thoughts or any questions that you might have.
One thing I'd be curious about is what's the adoption rate in your industry? It strikes me as that contractors and subcontractors are not really, or maybe I'm just stereotyping them, but it seems like there might be some resistance, especially older contractor's been doing it a certain way forever.
Yeah, you're spot on with that. So it is, the adoption process is very difficult, but that's one thing that we're not asking the subcontractor or vendors to really change their process, because we're not asking them to create a password or an email or logging into any type of screen. They can sign digitally, and then a lot of them are just getting that wet ink signature. You can email it to those particular vendors, very similar to the process that they're used to. They can email it back to you, and it's really, you're implementing the new technology as a general contractor or home builder. You're not really requiring them to do anything. One thing to note too is on the digital payment side, we have an internal team that goes out and collects banking information. So you're not, you as the owner of the construction company are not going out and acting now as you're not updating electronic banking information and all that. So we do that for you on your behalf. Good questions.
Anyone else?
Anyone?
Anyone? Everybody awake? So, Mike,
did I put everybody to sleep?
No, not at all. I think everybody's
all
just
right.
kind of in awe. So, all right, let's talk about the elephant in the room. What does pricing look like for lien waivers?
So really, really exciting stuff. We started out to where our pricing was, very basic. We were just getting people on the platform, getting used to it. And so right now our base fee is just $39 a month. We don't have a contract. We don't charge per project or user. We do have some additional fees, obviously, around the electronic payment portion. We include 20 electronic signatures per month. Kind of our wheelhouse. It was luxury home builders where we started, and they were like 20, 30 waivers per month. And so we include 20 electronic signatures per month for that. We do have an electronic signature price based on your volume, anything over 20. But many of our customers are using the $39 a month and creating an unlimited amount of waivers through our system.
Okay, so without the electronic signature, it's unlimited?
It's unlimited. So you can send out as many as you want for email for $39 per month. That email tracking feature, which I explained, where you can email the waivers directly from your scanner in your office, that is an additional $50 per month, but that's unlimited. So we can send out as many lien waivers as we want, get those back in paper format or email format, and email those to our software so they're recorded for $89 a month total.
Right. And speaking of emailing from your scanner, Larry had asked me in the chat what brand of scanner forwards to email. I'm pretty sure the Fujitsu ScanSnap does. Which is the one.
I'm not for sure what she's using. We have one an HP scanner printer in our office that we can do it from, but I'm not really for sure.
Right. Okay.
I was going to ask you, you mentioned there's different processes for different states. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? I'm just kind of curious.
I wouldn't say it's for different states. We're just kind of seeing like trends. More of like pockets of the country. It's like they must all go to the same conference or talk to each other, and I'm sure they worked at different companies, so they learn how to do things a certain way. And it might not be the most efficient process. Like, say if you're collecting a unconditional waiver, sometimes they're having the subcontractors and vendors fill all that information out with the invoice. Well, then it might not be accurate. There might be changes. It just requires a lot more out of the people that are filling these out. And so our system really puts you as the general contractor in control of the process and make sure that it's not holding anything up.
That's what I'm used to, is the sub and the individuals putting it in to the GC. So so it's kind of nice to see the flip. Does it happen though? Could you request that and generate it based on your information too and just compare it? Do people still do that, where they have the sub send it in and then you just compare to what you have to kind of reconcile because sometimes there's a discrepancy between what the sub's requesting and what you have in your payment system.
Great question. Yeah, you could definitely have the sub go ahead and send one up. And really, we're seeing a lot of times the project managers will actually approve the payment. So the PM will sign off on that. And at that point, accounting will step in and go ahead and facilitate the payment. So if that project manager wanted to use that as like kind of a check, you could do that. But it's really, that would be a lot of extra paperwork. We're seeing most of the contractors that we're working with are really just kind of moving to this process where the PM will approve the invoice. At that point, accounting will take over. We'll fire off that lien waiver, get that signed, and send the payment out.
Do you have like a training videos or a training manual that maybe have like best practices for different types? Like I would think you'd want to have like a uniform process for treating manual lien waivers versus digital and all that. Might make it helpful for your clients if there's like a training manual to try to enforce some standards on, you know.
Great, that's great. Yeah, we're working in that direction. Right now, we just do a lot of education with our one-on-one weekly. I do host a weekly webinar every Wednesday at 1 o'clock, and for our QuickBooks users, and then every Thursday at 1 o'clock. And we really do a lot of education on there. But good point. We're looking at producing some content or some collateral, kind of based on what we're seeing across the country.
Okay, so what else? All right, so we've got connections with all the accounting software we could ever hope for already in place. We've got our pricing nailed down. Do we have perhaps any kind of affiliate or partner programs that people might want to know about? Or it doesn't seem like it lends itself to that, because it's kind of like you just sign up and add your clients and that's it. Or no? Yeah,
we do have an affiliate program for you pro advisors out there that want to jump on that. Michael at lienwaivers.io. If you guys want to shoot me a note, I can send that agreement over. We're working with a few across the country right now, so that's pretty exciting stuff. People that are working with multiple GCs, and we're getting them on that platform, and they're able to make some money off of this too.
And just to plug everybody for affiliate programs in general, I'm always the first one to say you should never do it if it's not a product you absolutely love and believe in and would be recommending with or without the affiliate income. But I strongly recommend signing up for these programs when you do run across a product that you love, because I'm not even exaggerating. Just yesterday, I was on my way to an appointment. As I pulled up and parked, I picked up my phone and got an email letting me know I was getting an extra $1,000 sent to me because of referrals that I made. It's just one of those things, you know, it's like just extra money. It's not going to change your lifestyle any, but it's just really nice to get those kind of emails, especially if you start getting them often. So I strongly encourage, if you loved what you've seen here, and I can't imagine you didn't, because it's an amazing app that facilitates a really, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just one of those things we don't want to have to deal with, right? So to have an app like lienwaivers.io to help us with this process, and especially if we're already working with construction companies, I don't know, from what I've seen here today, I think it just makes sense. And I'm not an affiliate yet, right? I'm not being paid to say this. This is just my honest opinion that it's just a no-brainer. If you work in construction, the price is very reasonable. And while you're at it, why not sign up for the affiliate program? So Mike, they just send you an email if they're interested in signing up for that?
Yeah, you can send us an email, or our chat is a great way to get a hold of us on Lienwaivers.io. The bottom right-hand corner, there's a little chat bubble. We have somebody manning that all the time. So if you want to just chat us and say, hey, I'm interested in the affiliate program, then you're not remembering to write anything down, and we'll just send us your email and we'll get that out to you.
Perfect. And let's get some lobbying going for the state of Iowa to change the laws there, right?
I know. It's like the majority of our customers, we work with customers in about every single state now. So yeah, it's the guys at notarizer.com are working hard on that. So reach out to those guys as well. They have some cool stuff going on.
Mike, I wonder if you could cover that little piece that Sarah brought up, you know, where you have contractors and they have unconfirmed change orders, and it leads to a big mess because the numbers don't match.
Yeah, obviously that's a huge piece of it. And I think that's where we're really coming into play after all that's been approved. And in the past, historically, in different parts of the country, we're seeing that those change orders and all that, adjusting those documents, requiring them to fill out another waiver because the first one was not done correctly, or they were making changes on their own, like trying to hide the fact that there was a change or something was going on.
Sure.
And so all
All of
that stuff, yeah, a lot. So the PMs can really focus on just approving those, and then accounting can come in. And once those are approved, then they can jump into our software and do this. So we really stay out of that. We really like to make sure that, once that payment's going out, we'll match that information and collect the waiver.
Believe me, they always try to dump it on the accounting anyway.
Yeah, it's smaller, or I wouldn't say smaller. There's luxury home builders that might only be building 3 houses, but they're very large companies. But recently we've been working with a lot of commercial contractors, and so they have obviously more admin staff. But yeah, if you're a smaller shop, as far as employee wise, you're really handling all pieces of it.
That's where I see this being a real benefit to some people, because it takes a long time to figure this out. Sometimes it's just too time consuming.
Yeah, we're working with a girl in Montana right now. Her whole week was lien waivers, and now she just goes in on Sunday night.
That sounds like a fun week.
Really, that's all she did. And now she has her whole week back. She does everything she does on one day. She said she just kind of, turns on the TV, hops on her app, creates her waivers, sends them out, and does it all right there.
So talk about efficiency. We've taken a week and consolidated into a day.
Wow.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What's
Cool stuff.
the final payout one look like? Does it list it out as far as the release, or it's just on the release side on the lien, right? The final payment? Yeah,
the final payment would be a final unconditional waiver. So it'd be a different waiver. But if you want to have those, we can, this is getting a little technical too, but we can roll up in waivers for multiple invoices. We can put, if you want the additional information on that particular final waiver, we can work with you and kind of see how you're doing that and put that on the waiver as well. So it's really customizing or tweaking it to what you need or what's required by your lenders or your owners.
I was just thinking on the topic that Larry brought up, because change orders do sneak in. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes those need to be recognized in those finals, to show the whole thing. But it's whatever works. So.
Sure, we can dive deeper into some of that stuff, and we do have customers that are have that same situation like that we're customizing it for.
Cool, it's nice.
Great. All right. Well, if nobody else has any questions, Michael, if you have nothing else, then we can wrap up here for the day. But we do have time, so if anybody else has anything they want to share, discuss, ask, speak now, or forever hold your mouse button. Or I don't know.
One thing I want to say is we have some really exciting stuff coming out here in the next 2 or 3 weeks. I'm not allowed to discuss that, but if you guys want to jump on our site or our social sites in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we're adding some features that it's been a request from about everybody. So really exciting stuff. So make sure you check that out if you're interested in lien waivers at all or streamlining the whole process.
Yep. So lienwaivers.io, of course. And Michael, what's your email again?
Just Michael@lienwaivers.io.
That's easy. That's easy to remember. Yep. Michael at lienwaivers.io, lienwaivers.io for the website. And check it out, folks. Lien waivers, if you work in the construction field, this is going to save you a ton of time. It can turn a week into a day, as we've heard. And then imagine being able to turn like weekly income into daily income or something like that. So anyway, thank you, Michael, for being with us this week. This is great stuff. It's just, like I said at the beginning, it's one of those apps that solves a very, very specific problem, but it's an important one, right? right? And so I'm really glad you came out and shared this with us. I'm excited to see what unfolds. We'll check back with you. Maybe after those new features have rolled out, we can check in with you and just maybe get a few minutes with you when you can share more with us about them. So you know about that as soon as those features are rolled out. And I'll make sure I remind everybody in the Between Wall and Main Strategy Forum to check back about those updates. And again, everybody, sign up for, is there a free trial? How does it work when we sign up?
Yeah, we don't have a contract. So if you want to, I'll introduce you to the customer success team. Just chat us. We get you set up with an account. You can be off and running for $39. Use it for a month, get in there, play with it, see what it's like for $39. So really easy to get started.
Right. No need for a free trial. $39 is ridiculously low. Just sign up, try it, see what you think. And again, if you're an accountant, you're going to be making this as a recommendation, then sign up for the affiliate program. Might as well, especially if you are in love with this product. So thank you, Michael. I appreciate you coming out and sharing with us today. And everybody else, thank you for participating. As always, I will get the recording of this up on my site as soon as possible. But of course, the Facebook Live video is already up and live and running and will be available a few minutes after I click the end button right here in Zoom. So don't forget, Tuesdays, 4 o'clock, the Cash Flow Show with Mike Milan and myself. And we were talking in the beginning before we went live, so I wanted to mention this. Sarah, tell everybody what you told me about what we were doing in our 97 and up call. We were writing bullet points, right? And we were practicing. Everybody was doing it. And the focus was on how to write copy that sells, but it was really powerful, I think, even for me, and I didn't expect this necessarily, what it was doing for us in terms of giving us insights and ideas about content to produce and subjects and reason. You know, Sarah, go. Tell us what you said before we went live.
Well, I was saying that it really, I know specifically we had a little, dialogue about certain things, but it gave me pause and made me think I should rewrite my presentation that I have coming up on Wednesday with a couple of these bullet points that I was struggling with the presentation, honestly. So now I'm going to go back and rewrite it because it became clearer on the need and how to direct the focus and just sort of how to kind of summarize what maybe you can do for people without giving away too much, giving some tips and little tools. So I enjoyed it. Yeah.
It really forces you to think about what your offering is and what the benefits really are and how to present those benefits to people. And it's a simple practice of writing 21 different types of bullet points. We went through just the first 5. But again, it forces you to think, how do I summarize the benefits of my product or service in just, in short, succinct bullet points and in a way that evokes curiosity and makes people want to learn more, right? That's the whole key to this. But I think, while you're doing that, you just learn so much more about what you're offering and how to present it and all that. So really, really interesting stuff. I hope to see more people signing up. Recordings are all going up on the site, so you'll be able to catch up with us, no problem, very quickly. And the book, How to Write Copy That Sells, by Ray Edwards, is a very easy read. I read the chapter on the 21 bullet points in one sitting. It's easy, it flows, and it's great information. Michael, even for you guys, you might want to check that book out because in terms of marketing and presenting your app to the world, I think it can help anyone, and it's a skill everyone should have in this day and age anyway. Some people tell me, Seth, I don't want to write content. And I'm like, you're already writing content. You're on Facebook, you're on Twitter, you're writing content. You're just not thinking about it that way, and you should be. Anyway, with that, we'll sign off. Michael, thank you so much again. Lienwaivers.io looks awesome. And I look forward to catching up with you again soon, especially as you guys roll out new features. I'm dying to know about them. And I'm going to be signing up for the affiliate program for sure. So look forward to that and seeing what we can do. All right, everybody, don't forget, Gina's hanging out later today, 2 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock Eastern. Just go to SBAA on Facebook, Small Business Accounting Advisors. Gina, any special topic today, or what you see is what you get? Wait, you're muted. Hold on, I got you.
What you see is what you get, unscripted and totally fun.
Awesome.
Totally
I love that.
We chat for the first half an hour and then determine what we want to talk about when she starts recording. So the first half an hour is us being friendly and chatting, and the next half an hour we record.
Off the record,
And
right?
then the recording button goes off and we chat however we want.
Yeah, and then we chat even longer.
All right, so
Yeah.
in this case, the gloves come off first, then you chat, and then you put the gloves back on and start recording.
And then we take the gloves back off after we stop recording.
Excellent. Love it. Looking forward to seeing you all around the web. We'll see you all later on today or in the Facebook group or anywhere else for that matter online. Thanks again, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.